two-time independent presidential contestant. And this year, 2020, running mate to Sebi Walker. So it's now Walker Joy. You walk with joy. Thank all of you very much for believing in the vision that we have and making sure that you are here to support us. I'm very, very grateful to all of you. My next is to the participants. There are a few of them that spoke to me with WhatsApp, and it's unfortunate I did not bring the names, but I'm sure when we finish, if you are one of them, you let me know that you are one of them. I'm very, very happy and delighted today. Very briefly, we're going to finish this hopefully by 12 o'clock, because the people who have gotten here, their time is not only money. Their time saves lives. Put your hands together for them. Madam Oti said, I'm the reason. I am the second reason. Christ is the reason. So put your hands together. Good. We have done this for the first year, the second year, and there are several people where we see and joy has never turned their back on this occasion. We traveled all the way yesterday night from the northern region and suspended every electionary campaign. There are so many reasons that people can suspend their campaigns, but one I know is that Joy can suspend campaign for emotional, intelligent African South. And all other speakers has paid heavy price to be here. So I give them the thanks. Now, I won't take too much of your time, because in occasions like this, I allow my speakers to do the job, because for the whole year I've been speaking to you. So theirs is more important, but I will give you some simple reason why we are here. Now, why the theme for this year? There is something that strikes me. You know, perhaps my own people might not have seen the importance that emotional intelligence play in our lives, and by extension, our political dispensation. A woman who has EQ group in Sweden wrote a response when he saw our advert on LinkedIn. It's not on social, the other one, it's not on Facebook that you can say, everybody can say anything. This is LinkedIn. Whatever you say it in LinkedIn is linked to your CV and your performance as an expertise. So we don't joke that in that area. And when I saw the comment from the woman, I said, I thank God. So I wrote down something for her response. And I'll read what she wrote and what I wrote back. She said, such a wonderful and important issue. I have not seen this raised by any EQ organization around the world. To have a good leaders and good informed voters, we need EQ. So the woman has already summarized all that I want to say today. Yes, he said to have a good leader or a good leaders and a good informed voters, you need EQ. And she ended, will there be a recording? And now hear my response. I said, if you have monitored us for some time, you will see that our teams are not ordinary. Our teams for every year is divine, because when people read the team, those that know, they know. Are you with me? Very, very important. So why is emotions and emotional intelligence that important to our political dispensation? And in the heading or the team, I added posterity. And one of the interviews, I told the people that I intentionally added posterity because we are practicing democracy all right. Yesterday I calculated it's getting to, I think, 28 or 26 years now. So, without any coup d'etat from 1992, everything points to the fact that we've been successful in practicing this democracy. But I added the posterity because is this kind of democracy what we want to hand over to the next generation? Because our political dispensation has also brought along a lot of other skills and attitude that are becoming normal to us. But when we sit back and watch some of these things, for instance, insult, disrespect to the elderly, corruption at its highest peak, when we hear some of these things, then we ask ourselves, is this type of the democracy that we want to hand over to the next generation? If the answer is no, then what other skills, what other attitude can we add to this democracy so that we can hand it over to the next generation and go to bed when we visit our elders? I think you put your hands together for me. Please, the speakers that are coming, they love clapping. So if you're a student here and the hand is yours, make sure that you clap, because when they stand here, they move into the spirit. And when you clap, you get more points to take home. Very, very important. So, it is clear that if some of these things that are being transferred and is now becoming normal, unnecessary rivalry and competition among ourselves is now becoming normal, then we must do something. But all is not what? Lost. All is not lost, because when emotional intelligence is added to our political dispensation, as Nana said, when our policies and programs are underpinned by emotional intelligence competencies, the world will be a better place for all of us. Now, why is emotional intelligence that important? Hanmeka tree kakra. Yei amambuna yakofa banankasa no. What's the kebi mamin kebi? Anya de bibia. Na se kebi mamin kebi da na chere ha ne he ne yati yeduma. Are you getting my point? So you speak, allow me to what? To speak. So how can you speak and allow somebody to speak if you don't understand the emotions that is battling with that particular person at a point in time? That means you will be speaking, but you are speaking to a dead somebody. You are speaking to somebody who is highly frustrated, highly disturbed. But because you don't have the eye and ability to understand that particular emotion, you are speaking into the what? Into the bush. Emotional intelligence is very important for two things here. First, to understand your own emotions and manage them, and understand other people's emotions, so that you do three things here. You relate to that particular person empathetically. You relate to that particular person functionally. Functionally, I mean a workable relationship. And you relate to that person cooperatively. This is very, very important. Now, if this is the case, then if we are going to judge all, then emotional intelligence will play a critical role in that. You must also note that emotional intelligence is one of the competencies that ensure or build a culture of peace. Because when you understand people's emotions, you may not be insulting them unnecessarily. I remember there is a minister of state, I've forgotten the name, but when it got to a time that the insult started, one of the gentlemen appeared in the legislature and he said, "You are now here. What you have done to us one day." I've forgotten the name. The man is from Eastern region, very nice man with normally this kind of beer, quite simple one. He started the beer before this one's coming. But I've forgotten the name, an MPP man. So he cautioned those guys that what you have done today to be here, do you know that one day you will also be experiencing it? Now look at the fire. It's burning all over the place. So emotional intelligence must be taken critically here so that we will live as good people. Very, very important. Now, how would you be able to now manage your own emotions and that of others? I'll give you 3 strategies here and I will almost be ending. The very first thing that you have to do is to know your triggers. The student here, what causes you to be angry? If you see party A's color and you will be angry, please close your eye to party A's color. And there wouldn't be any problem. Now, after knowing what triggers you, what makes you happy, what makes you sad, the next thing is how are these things manifest in you? When you are angry, what happened? It's better you know, because in the time of anger and frustrations, the rational brain has been hijacked by the emotional brain. So in a split of a second, the rational brain cannot think rationally. So the only way to assess whether you are angry or disappointed or frustrated is to study your body language and the movement, the physiological changes within your body. And that will tell you that if your hand is shaking, Mr. Addison, it means that you've heard something that is causing you to be hot, to be angry. So when you see the hand shaking and your brain cannot tell you that somebody has insulted you or you have seen party A's color, that is why the hand is shaking, then the shaking of the hand must tell you that you are about to do something that is bad. And why we are here today is that when you see the hand shaking, you must adopt any strategies possible to ensure that you don't beat somebody and go to his home. So you either walk away, take a deep breath, and any other strategy that you can do to avert this situation. What then are some of the critical components of emotional intelligence that I believe when we made it part and parcel of our education and training institutions, Ghana will be the best place to be? I'll pick on just one or two. Very, very important. We'll make the notes available at the right time. Now, the democracy means let's speak. But in most of the time, when we are speaking or when somebody is speaking, we don't take time to listen. If you are not careful, you will simply equate listening and getting ready to speak as equal, but they are never equal. If you are getting ready to speak, nothing shows that you are hot listening. And that is what we are doing in this country. Everybody wants to speak. Everybody is speaking. But nobody is listening. Why? Because if you listen, there are so many advantages that you derive from that nonsense, the nonsense that you are hearing. If you are able to listen, you have so many insights in there. It may be nonsense today, but 5 or 10 years to come, it may be a very sensible something. All of it. And most of the time I tell people, God has a reason of giving us 1 mouth and 2 ears. He wants us to listen twice as much as we can than as we speak. So ability to listen is one of the things that can deepen our democracy in this country. Now, Mr. Addison, what then is listening? I'm not here to give you all those definitions, but I want to give you some signs that will demonstrate that somebody is either listening or not. Now, when I look at your faces and I look at the back and all the big men, I can see that they are listening because the body language is speaking to me. The way you sit, even in class, will demonstrate to your teacher whether you are really listening or not. This is very, very important. So, when you listen, what happens is that you are getting a complete conversation, because speaking, what is not speaking or what is unspoken is 85%. Yes. And research has shown that when we are given the opportunity to choose between what people are telling us and what the body language is demonstrating, we will pick what the body language is demonstrating. And this was exemplified first in America in 1970 during the elections of Kennedy and Nixon. We won't have time to go into that. But the body language speaks volume. So if you are listening, it means you must pay attention to people's simple body language. Appropriate voice. You don't listen and shout on top of your voice to people. You suspend all judgment. You pretend as if you don't know anything and hear the person well. You ask what we call excavating questions. Questions that will allow the person to bring out all that is hidden by applying appropriately the 2 types of words. Questionnaire or questions, that the open and closed-ended. There are so many advantages when you listen, right? And one of them is that you'll be getting the clue and the unspoken one. The next thing that I think when it's added into our democratic dispensation, the world will be a better place, is trust. Trust. Politicians must build trust and transparency. There must be accountability and meritocracy. This is very crucial for democracy because democracy believes in numbers. And when the number is disappointed continuously for such a long time, you will lose the numbers. Don't be surprised. In my conclusion, I've stated something there that indicates that a time is coming. If care is not taken, people will not go out to vote. I'm telling you, you may think now everybody, when it gets there, go and vote, go and vote. It's a stage we are passing through very soon because here we are still not sure. So we are being forced, and we believe that when we go and vote this time, it will work around. Another 4 years, we were forced to go and vote, and we did not see anything. A time is coming, even when you tell people to go and vote, they will not go because the trust is not there. Let our A's be A's and our B's be B's. As a nation, we must be independent. I'm bringing my destiny to a close. We are in this country 24/7, so make sure that you get in contact with us. I know a lot of people who are also in line with emotional intelligence are here. Let's align ourselves together and let's make our voice heard. So we must be independent as a nation. And I put something down. I said we are legally independent, but mentally still slaves. And I will make reference to the personal assistance for Joy. When the COVID came, we were discussing, and he made some profound statement, which has become part of my vocabulary. He said, Mr. Addison, we will surely defeat COVID. But whether we will defeat COVID with colonialism is another thing to think about. COVID may go, but we're still enslaved. I have found, I have not grown that much, but I've grown to believe that we believe in everything, anything from outside, except our own capabilities and what? Competencies. One of the leading skills now is collaboration. But to what extent do Ghanaians collaborate? When the pandemic came, there were a lot of collaboration between institutions. Government needed statistics from health. You could see that the people were working because the Minister of Health needs that information. You getting my point? And then the Minister for Interior needs that information. So COVID is one of the means that put our civil servants on their toes. So what are the lessons that we are learning from there? Collaboration is very, very important. During the COVID, we did well because of a simple collaboration. Now, a white man is telling us this, but so many years ago, so what happened to e wa yere muso mo wa yere na yere mo for no wa ye dime ya bo na ba yifu for no so na ya kokwa ya kwa wo ha ben no one day Monday ya ba finish book ni na. What were our people doing? Collaboration. But the danger is all these things are good, but we have what managed successfully to really to put them aside, and we are after something else. Very, very important. We need to have these things. We need to build confidence. You see, when your confidence is taken up, I'm sure Joy, to this year, he has seen a limited. We intentionally created the limitation on the participant, but I could see that he will rate this year as one of them. Why? Because the confidence that we started with keeps on growing and keeps on increasing. The worst thing that you can do to yourself is lack of what? Confidence. When the corona came, there was a gentleman that what? Invented some washing the protocol something with a taxi. Yes. And what I did not like about is that when the media, so I have something for media and I will close, we'll leave the rest. When the media had opportunity to interview this person, they were interviewing the man in foreign language. So I asked myself, what English does Japanese speak? So that he's able to do engine. What English will Chinese speak? So that he will do those toys. So if a man who by our own strategies to make them poor and confine them because our policies are not empathetic enough to have taken them to the grassroots, this man has used his local mentality and everything and has done that invention. And for you to go to the man and let the man speak in his own language so that you will be able to explain well. They were speaking English to the man. I don't know whether the man was able to convince them. I won't waste much of your time. We have a long way to go. But between me and you, we can always what? Do something. We must be very supportive. Very, very supportive. Research has shown, a 19-year research revealed that one of the critical skills that make people very successful is a child who is very supportive. To what extent do we support our own industry? To what extent do we build our own capabilities? I'll give some advice to the media, because if our democracy is going to be sustained, then a media has a critical role to play. So what are some of the emotional and the social skills that the media will need? One of the things that the media will have to do, and I'm happy they are here in their numbers, and this particular one, if they don't even play it in news, they should play it another time, so that their friends in the media will hear this. One of the things that media will have to do so that we deepen our democracy is what we call reality check. This is your ability to look at the correspondence between what is really happening and what you have perceived. Most of the time, we perceive something in our mind. When you were coming, some of you have not seen me before, so you had your own perception. When I was going out and coming, you were reading the minutes that you read. Even my attire, you read the minutes into it. As we speak now, you are reading minutes. By the end of my speech and the project, you might have changed your perception. That means when you hold a perception and you don't do a critical reality check into that, you will move into action and you turn back to see that the action was wrong. We hear the news and we want to be first to break the news. And before we realize, we have broken the wrong news. Misleading headlines. Of late, they will just pick a popular name. And Mr. Addison. And they will just say, Addison involved in robbery. So if it's not Addison at Bank of Ghana, then it's Addison, Mr. Addison, you put your hands together for me. So, as soon as you see that, you are tempted to believe whatever is there. So you read and when you get into the bottom, oh, this is Mr. Addison who has started secondary school and you brought him to the church and you've wasted all your time. So my question is, to them, after the reality check, what is really in their mind? As a media personality, what do you want to achieve? Do you want to destroy this country with the kind of thing you are bringing out? So whenever you are pushing the news out, what is the perception here? What is the motive? What do you want to achieve? So if the communication schools are not teaching them the right motive to believe in their own country, then we are getting something wrong. Reality check, very, very important. The next one is impulse management. Your ability to delay your decision for a split of a second and you see the difference you make in life. This is very, very critical. Very, very important. Anytime that you delay your decision for a split, we are not saying don't take a decision. But once you are delaying your decision, you are simply putting the mental agility. You are looking at things from different angles and different backgrounds, different perspectives to see whether what you have believed is really what is what is true. Impulse management is very, very important. What we put out there should provide solutions and not necessarily challenges for us. I'll end with my conclusion. In the next years to come, if care is not taken, overwhelming majority of Ghanaians will find elections so boring and irrelevant that they will not even bother to vote. Political parties ought to start offering solutions that feel relevant to Ghanaians. Therefore, successive government needs to respond to public apathy, dissatisfaction, and anger with what? Emotional intelligence. Ghana can boost its democratic legitimacy by offering policies and programs that are emotionally intelligent. For instance, a total health care which is what? Free. Go to UK and people are not afraid to get sick. I come to our country here and some of us, when we are even sick at this level, we hesitate to go to the hospital. So how much more the other of us? Politicians and institutions should become more emotionally intelligent about how they engage the public, not just by showing that they sympathize, but by making incremental changes. And I want you to take note here. Most of the time they are very smart in showing that they sympathize with us. But whether they will take any bold steps And I mean incremental steps to ensure that whatever happened that they came to sympathize with you will be no more in the next future is another question that me and you can ask them. I will leave you with the following, these three. And it's very crucial to me. Let us interact with each other in a healthy and compassionate manner. We must also apply self and social awareness in making responsible choices. And finally, we must monitor and regulate our emotions so that the emotions will aid us rather than impeding our progress and our democracy. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.